Hey everybody, Chris Grant here with Galyna Parker. We're going to get rolling here in like 3 to 5 minutes. Going to let people start rolling in a little bit. Let us know you're here. Let us know you can hear us, and we'll get rolling. So, Galyna, thank you for joining me tonight. I appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. There we go. Hopefully you guys are not having any issues seeing me or hearing me. My internet service provider decided to have an outage, so I'm running this from the hotspot on my phone to my computer. So hopefully everything will go smoothly. But let us know you're here. Let us know where you're in from, and let us know you can hear us okay. We'll get rolling here in just a few minutes. Turn my watch off so it doesn't ding all the time. What part of the where do you live, Galyna?
I live in Florida, South Florida.
Oh, nice.
Hollywood, if you know.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm not going to be that far, but I am going to be in Florida in the next month. We're excited.
South Florida?
Wayne from Columbus. No, we're just gonna make it to Orlando.
Oh, okay. Disney.
It's going to be my son's 5th birthday, and so we're going to take him down there. Wayne, you're right here in my backyard, man. Columbus, Ohio. Yeah, Hollywood. All right. I have not made it down that far in Florida
you looked it up?
I probably need to get down there. How far of a drive is it to the Keys for you?
Well, depends which one. The first one.
Yeah, if you're just going to go to the first one.
Maybe an hour and 20 or so. Maybe an hour. Well, Key West, I think, is like 3 hours. Maybe more than that.
Oh, wow.
The furthest.
All right. Will from Vegas, nice. Ivor, my buddy down there. He's in South Florida. Alan, what's going on? Russ, good to have you guys. Wayne, go Bucks. Let's see. Oh, nice. Matthew's also from Hollywood, Florida. That's cool. All right, guys, we're going to get started here in maybe just 2 more minutes. Just going to let people roll in. I know we've always got some late comers, but we will get started here very, very shortly. And I'm going to keep this to about an hour. Make sure we don't go too far over that, and make sure you guys have some questions. I know that I think I've got some good ones here set up. Nothing scary though, I promise.
Bring it on. I'm not worried.
All right. We're coming up on the 5-minute mark, so we're going to go ahead and get rolling. Everybody, welcome to another week of Chris Grant Presents. This is where I do interviews with people who are experts in e-commerce and Amazon especially, who are active in the FBA community, people you might see in Facebook groups and at conferences and things like that. This is something I've been doing for a couple of weeks now. It's something we did in the past, and I kind of have a renewed vigor over it because I just got back from Rocky Mountain Reseller Conference, and it reminds me of the importance of networking in this business. Some of the best tips, tricks, and relationships are forged out of the conversations in the hallways and at the bar at these conferences. And it's something that we can't do every single week. We can't do it every single month. It only happens a couple times a year. So this is kind of the best way that I've figured that we can network and learn from each other without necessarily having to fly to another state and doing that. So this week I have Galyna Parker. Galyna, thank you again for coming on. I really appreciate it. She is an Amazon seller and a multi-channel seller. You said that you're on eBay, Walmart. You have your own website, Jet.
Yep, and our own website.
Nice. So she is a multi-channel seller. And if you wouldn't mind getting us started, tell me how you got started selling online, and I guess kind of what your background is and things like that.
Sure. So I'm selling on Amazon for about 4 years now. I just was searching for ways how to make money online, and went from one thing to another, then got into Kindle books, which is Amazon. And this is how I kind of started learning more about Amazon. Then I stumbled up on Online Selling Experiment blog, Chris Grant. And it kind of went from here, learning from Facebook and Facebook groups, kind of started from here.
Nice. That's great. Online Selling Experiment is an excellent blog. Ryan runs a quality.
Sorry, Ryan Grant. I said Chris. I'm sorry.
That's okay. Ryan runs an excellent blog over there. Awesome. So you started doing retail arbitrage before you really got into wholesale, right?
Yeah. Technically, I started with private label, actually, but
okay.
at that time, I didn't know that's what I'm doing. I kind of came up with the product. I bought it retail, and then I kind of reinvented it anyway. But that kind of started the ball rolling. But then I learned about Array and was doing Array. Then Oay added to the mix. And but right now, for about a year, maybe over a year, we're almost completely wholesale. So majority is sourcing is wholesale right now.
Awesome. What was I guess I want to talk a little bit about your retail arbitrage strategy, and then maybe you can tell us a little bit about what you did to transition. Did you have a team when you were doing RA? Was it just you? I guess what did you do when you were hitting the pavement?
So in the beginning, I did not have a team, like I guess most of us. So I got a couple local employees that started, helping me with Array. But honestly, at that point, I started moving on to, OA and wholesale and stuff like that. So I never really did a lot with Array regarding like setting up a team or anything. Okay. But with the wholesale, this is when it really allowed me, to kind of scale, staff-wise, hiring people and training them and stuff like that. So this is where I was able to, build something, bigger than just me running around the stores kind of thing. Nice.
What made you want to transition from RA and OA into wholesale?
So I guess the slap of Amazon hand, at one point or another, there was actually a moment where I was literally in the store doing Array, and I was checking out, and I got a notification on my phone that Amazon wants me to confirm the authenticity of an items, and those are like the items that I'm putting on the cart, from a cart to check out, and I was like, well, that's a bad sign, and I kind of. And then I went to a conference in the Seattle Women's Conference, and I kind of heard what they're saying as well, where the Amazon is going with the whole direction. Like, and at that point, we already were wholesale, but a little bit more into liquidation. So even that led me to move in even further from liquidation, wholesale, closeouts to like wholesale, like in a different way. So basically, yeah, just trying to reverse, the risk to avoid the consequences.
Absolutely. Now, I'm guessing did you actually get suspended, or was it just an authenticity claim?
No, I never was suspended. It was just an authenticity claim, which we were able to remove and everything. But it was kind of like a point.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's scary as all get out. I recently had my very first I've been on the platform for, I don't know, 6 or 7 years. I got my very first one, and it's scary, even though you have all the proof. So I definitely get it. Now, in your wholesale business, you said you're doing liquidation, but you've moved mostly to clothing wholesale. Is that right?
Right. Right now, we're majority clothing, but we sell a little bit of everything.
Okay.
But if you start kind of percentage-wise, clothing would be maybe 70%.
Okay. What are the upsides of a wholesale business? What are the downsides? And I guess, what's your philosophy behind getting accounts and things like that, that other people might be able to emulate if they want to move into wholesale?
Right. So the upsides is, I guess, again, the sort of safer path, I guess you can say, Amazon's eyes again. And again, the ability to scale, I guess, when you know where to get inventory from, and then how much you're going to pay for it, and how much you're going to sell it a month, you can kind of predict more where you're going to get your stuff from, and everything, cash flow and everything. Downside, I would say, if you compare Array, for example, and wholesale, margins in Array, like ROI in general, is much better than in wholesale. So wholesale, maybe on average, we would see 60% ROI, but you could go to, liquidation or whatever in Target, Walmart, and you can get as high as 300% ROI, right? So you can never get 300% ROI, doing wholesale. So that's a downside. And what was the third question?
What was it? Well, I'll tell you, I'll kind of transition a little bit. How would you coach others or suggest others to identify possible wholesale targets, I guess, people they might want to reach out to and things like that?
So the idea of wholesale usually is that, again, just like Array, you sell what already sells. So if you find a line of products, a brand that sells well, you can assume that you can get it wholesale. And unless, of course, we're talking about super large brands. So basically, when you're applying for wholesale accounts, try to stay kind of somewhere in the middle towards smaller on a company size scale. Like, you do not want to apply to Nike or Under Armour and stuff like that, because you will never get an account. But there's so many other brands. There's so many other brands that, kind of stay under the radar, and maybe you would never hear about them, in your life, but there is a market for these products and they're selling. So you can identify those, you apply for accounts. And I think that was your question before. You said what would prevent the other guy, I guess, from doing the same thing. And I guess nothing would prevent the other guy. Although, but there's so many of them. Again, it's like you can think you're in competition with each other, but not really. I mean, there's so many different brands, like millions and stuff. And again, you got to be smart the way you're applying for wholesale accounts to Brands are getting, more smarter. They want something in return. They just don't want you to just come and buy this stuff and sell and just like rinse and repeat, kind of like any other guy that out there. They want you to do something that, how can you differ from the other guy? Something for the brand, maybe help Amazon listings, improve photographs, help to police MAP. So you have to kind of differentiate.
Okay. And so when you're going to a brand, you are offering some sort of value proposition, and you're not just, throwing spaghetti against the wall and seeing what sticks, I would imagine.
So that depends. So we definitely do throw a lot of spaghettis against the wall. Wholesale is numbers game. However, about differentiating is when you get no, or when you think when you're gonna get no, but it's really valuable for you. This is when you put a little bit more effort into it instead of just reaching out. But also it's also the way how you present yourself. So for example, I was in the trade show last year, and I was talking to a vendor, and we were talking about his product, stuff like that. And then this lady would come up to him and kind of insert herself in the middle of a conversation and say, "Hey, do you sell to Amazon sellers?" And the guy would look at her and say, "No." And she would walk away. So like, you can't do that.
Right. How do you, so I have a sales background, and getting a no for me is not usually a big deal. I can keep on ticking, and I don't mind even going back. Okay. How does someone keep that mindset when they're getting a no after no from these wholesale accounts and keep on going? And I realize it's a numbers game, but I know that could probably burn some folks out after a while. Is it just, do you just get a steely reserve after a while, or is it a mindset that you need to go into this with?
So if you do your groundwork, you see, there could be many reasons why the guy or the girl would be getting no. It could be the one that they're getting after big accounts. It could be the one when they're sending out an email. It comes from, I don't know, bettyboop@gmail.com or something. Like, they're not really, putting their best face up front. So, but in the end, you're gonna hear no. We hear no. It's not like we don't. We hear no all the time. But if you do everything that you can to hear yes, and you put your best, up, then you just hear no, but then you're gonna hear yes. And okay. If it's 100% no, 80% no, 20% yes, what do you care? You just continue, applying. If you continue to improve yourself, if you feel like your process, needs to be better, your approach needs to be better. You need to, show that you have some value as opposed to the other guy. You definitely need to tweak all that. But you're going to hear no. You just don't get discouraged if you hear no. You just continue doing what you're doing.
Absolutely. I love it. Now, you have a team of 17. Is that right? 17 VAs and then one local person.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay. What do you have them do, and what's it like to manage that large of a team?
So some of my VAs work for me. They all work for me, but they work on managing our e-commerce business, and some VAs work for our clients, providing services of managing their business, their Amazon business, and providing buy lists to them. So I have, like I said 7 for me. What are they doing? There's so many things they're doing. So that would be doing various administrative tasks. It can take just several people, from filing for reimbursements, which we file for 9 types of different reimbursements that, and inventory reconciliations. There's so many ways how Amazon can lose your money and your inventory. So you got to be proactive. So that's one thing. Then, then sourcing, obviously, it's a big one. So, for example, one girl, her basically full-time job is to reach out to new wholesale suppliers, finding them potential suppliers, reaching out, filling out applications, requesting catalogs. That's her, like full-time job. Then another girl, she does reordering, right? So she has, certain objective that she needs to reorder this much worth of inventory every month. And she constantly, stays on top of the reordering software and places reorders. What else? Then another person would be managing our multi-channel, so which is listing our Amazon inventory and also our warehouse inventory to eBay, Jet, Walmart. We're gonna start getting on Etsy. That's like our next objective. Nice. Our own websites, of course. So that's also a lot of work. Even though there are a lot of tools that help you with that, somebody still has to do, the groundwork and, listing it and fixing errors and stuff like that.
Absolutely. Let me ask you about the girl who gets new accounts and things like that. Is she doing mostly email, or is she doing a lot of outbound calling?
We're doing mostly email. We found that in very, very small percentage, the company would want me to contact them by phone. I barely have this. Yeah.
That's good. That's good to know. Any tips or drafting an email that maybe has a higher chance of getting opened? Or I guess also, what's your follow-up procedure after the first contact?
Right. Special email. Well, I guess you have to kind of try to position yourself to the best of your ability when you're applying. So it helps if you have, certain niche that you're selling. You could technically apply for everything. You could apply for a tool and a baby product company, and maybe will be able to open an account. But if you can try to position yourself as a niche store, so for example, we have several stores, online stores, as out of Amazon, but Shopify. And if we can use that store to apply for an account to position ourselves, hey, we're the store. We never lied about Amazon. Like we never, say that we don't sell on Amazon. But if you can position yourself as to applying as from the store to that account, let's say you're applying for baby products and you have ilovebabies.com website, and this already gives you, kind of foot at the door, as opposed to if you just put like 2 sentences and say, hey, I'm Bob and I sell on Amazon. Can I buy your stuff? So that's kind of a first one. But honestly, if you are okay with a lower rate of accounts, you can probably get away of just, sending a simple email, say, hey, I would like to purchase your products wholesale. How can we open an account? Period. So you can probably get away with that as well.
I like it. I think that's some people talk about having a a generic website with a value, but I really like that having a Shopify store, maybe with some current products, or you could, just to get started, I guess you could drop ship off of Amazon so that you have some inventory in your Shopify store.
Well, we have our Amazon FBA inventory in our Shopify store. So it's actually our inventory. Like, we're not making it up. We're not listing, random products that we never carried. we have the service as well that we help clients to do the same thing. You can Shopify, you can set up your Shopify store with your FBA inventory, which also will be sort of automatically fulfilled, just like kind of like Joe Lister or Kia MCF or Commerchant do. You have to click a button, but other than that, you can set up automatic fulfillment for from your Shopify.
Something like station to talk on and shopper plug.
I'm not sure whose internet is this, but I could not hear you.
It may be mine. Are you using like a software like ShipStation to talk between your Shopify store and your Amazon inventory?
For Shopify? Or
yeah,
Shopify.
For Shopify, do you use their? I'm getting in the chat that people are not very well. Bear with me just a second, guys. All right. Okay. Is that any better by chance?
I think so.
Okay. I was just curious, do you use ShipStation to have your Shopify store connected to your Amazon account?
We use ShipStation, but not for Shopify, because Shopify takes your inventory. I mean, it doesn't take it. You have to list it, but it connects with your FBA inventory. So if you made a sale on your Shopify, it's going to go from your FBA stuff.
Perfect. Interesting. And now I got myself all out of train of thought. Oh, let me ask this. When do you think is a good time to start diversifying off of just Amazon? And what do you think some of the pros and the cons are of having those different streams of methods to sell your products?
So I think the good time to not get off Amazon, but to diversify from Amazon is now, because there are tools that allow you to do that without the necessity to manage each separate channel separately. So like Commerchant allows you to list it on Jet and Walmart. Well, Walmart kind of separate. You have to ship it from your warehouse. But let's say Jet, you can list your cross-list, it's called, your inventory, and it's going to be shipped automatically without you doing anything. You just need to list it. So why don't you list it, and then it's just going to be sitting there, and just doing its thing, It doesn't take anything away from you, because you're not doing any additional marketing for Jet, or let's say, right? Or eBay. You're not doing anything. You can do sponsored ads or stuff like that, but you just list your stuff and it's gonna sell. It's not gonna bid your Amazon stream, but if you can diversify a little bit, it's gonna, it could add up.
Absolutely. What about with Shopify? Are you running ads? Are you doing any kind of marketing to get inbound customers for that, or is it just kind of a wait and see who comes to it?
So with Shopify, initially our objective with the Shopify was to set up sort of storefront for wholesale, but we are going to be moving towards out of Amazon marketing and all of that stuff. But right now it's kind of like a storefront, just for wholesale.
Nice. Yeah, I'm fascinated by Shopify. I think they have a business model, and I like what I see a lot of people do with it. I need to get on Shopify. Difficult is the Jet setup and the Commerce?
It's not difficult. at all. Basically, you just take inventory from one place, move it to another. There's like, you just have to assign like categories, because there's like a different structure of categories in Jet. But from there on, it's pretty basic. Then you also need to kind of connect children if you have variations. But other than that, it's pretty basic.
Nice. Let me go back to your VAs and your team. When did you start hiring, and what did you look for when you started hiring your team?
So I have had VAs for about 3 years. What I was looking for? Well, my idea is that I always knew I had to train VAs because nobody would know off the bat what is Amazon. I mean, they would know what Amazon is, but how to manage account or how to file for reimbursements. So it's always been my responsibility to explain to a person. And basically, in my mind, as long as the person has a little bit of brain, has good logic, willing to work, and willing to learn new things, a little bit of creativity in there, this should work. I mean, of course, there are always some people that never work out, and some people who work out even better than you expected. But in the end, it's kind of, that's why I like SOPs, because I know in the end it's up to me to create a proper SOP, stand process, tutorial to teach somebody to do this task, and then it's up to them to learn it and to repeat it and to do it properly and think creatively, because things always come up.
Absolutely. Are you finding most of your VAs from the Philippines or India, or where are you finding your VAs from?
So I'm originally from Ukraine. So my VAs are mostly from Ukraine, all college educated. Some have 2 college degrees, very
Wow.
high-speed internet there, actually, even faster than you can get in some parts of the United States, and very
Wow.
affordable. 100 megabytes per second. It's very average. I mean, you can find it in many cities in Ukraine. So mine
That's
are from
incredible.
Ukraine. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Is there a large per hour price difference between, or I guess how big is the difference in cost for your employees compared to maybe the Philippines or somewhere else in the world?
I guess it depends. Philippines is kind of Philippines has been at it for a long time now. Philippines have VAs. I mean, they knew what a VA is for many years. VA for an American person. Mm-hmm. So I don't know how to compare. It's definitely, of course, cheaper than United States.
Right.
But and again, it depends on on the skill level, I guess, of a person. There's one can have this skill and that skill, or that experience and this experience. So I guess it's comparable, I guess. But I mean, I don't know.
Okay. Let's say that I wanted to work with somebody from the Ukraine. Is there an easy way to find them? Are you checking Upwork? Is it through contacts with family and friends in Ukraine?
A lot of my stuff I find through word of mouth. So okay. A person would be working for me, and then they knew another person, and I find my best stuff this way, honestly, because sometimes people would not be even thinking to look into virtual work. It's kind of still new. It's a new thing, kind of. But they could know a person.
That's good to know. Let's talk about, I know that you say you're obsessed with SOPs. So I would imagine that you're using them, and it makes your management of your team a little bit easier. Are you writing them yourself? How do you come up with them? When do you change them? Tell us everything you can about them.
Yeah. So I do write SOPs myself, but in the beginning I was writing everything myself, obviously. But right now I try not to, do that unless I have to. So I ask my VA to write a tutorial, or make a video, and then I would go over and I would maybe fix something if it needs fixing, and then kind of polish it up. Basically, the ideal tutorial needs to be able to put a 6th grader next to the computer screen and tell him, okay, you read that, and they need to read that, and they need to understand exactly what they're doing, and more importantly, why they're doing it. So, and the objective is to polish SOP to that level. And to answer the question, how many times I have to revise it? The answer is all the time, because there's so many new things that Amazon comes up with, and other platforms too. Anything in internet world is developing so fast. There are new tools coming up, old tools retiring or like not working anymore, and you have to constantly kind of revive it. You have to keep it fresh, because if something is not working anymore, you can't give that tutorial to a new person, because then they're gonna get stuck, kind of thing. So it's a work in progress all the time.
Do you have how often do you review them to update them, just as needed, or do you look through your SOPs on a monthly basis or quarterly basis to see if anything sticks out?
We have a lot of SOPs, like over 60, maybe 70, I don't know. And every little thing is SOP, basically. So we don't review. But what I do is that, let's say something comes up. Okay, let's say they are following SOP of removing negative feedback. And for example, recently Amazon came up with they say, if you use our shipping services and you shipped your stuff on time for merchant fulfilled, and you ship your stuff on time, and it arrives to customer leaves you a feedback that it arrived late, you can reach out to us and ask us to remove the feedback. And so this is a new thing, right? So now that this new thing comes up, I need to add it into my SOP. So the next VA or the next person who's doing this procedure will know that. So like in case we or our clients would get a feedback like that, they would know that this feedback actually now can be removed because there is this new thing,
I like it. Lewis asked, what is an SOP? An SOP is a standard operating procedure. It's kind of a guidebook on how you would do anything in a business, really. And I know you said that you need to write it for a 6th grader, but are there any important elements that you make sure are in each one of your standard operating procedures?
Right. So the important one is to explain to the person why they're doing it. It is very important to do that. Sometimes it's hard. It's easy to get lost into trying to explain step by step, like go here, do there. But if you do not take your time and explain why they're doing it, their errors and mistakes are bound to happen. So you need to, give them a sort of overview. If it's needed, you need to spend a little bit more time on that. Don't just assume. Basically, when you write SOP, don't assume anything. Like, don't assume that the person knows already this or they know that. If you write SOP and the other person reads it and they tell you, I don't know what this is probably your mistake, that you didn't write it through properly. Or, of course, they didn't read it before, which is then you question them. But then, again, it's on them. But you need to write everything, very clearly and to explain why they're doing it.
Awesome. Alan has a good question. Do you offer your standard operating procedures for sale to other sellers, or do you have a course or anything like that?
We do not offer our SOPs for sale, but they help us to train and to refine skills of our VAs that help other sellers that provide services for the other sellers. So we maintain the same high quality standards, you know, for each client, for each VA that they're working with.
Nice. What I'd like to do is, everybody, if you have questions, please make sure to put them in the chat. I've got kind of a, I don't know if anybody listens to Tim Ferriss or not, but I'm kind of a fanboy. So I've kind of taken his rapid fire questions and modified them a little bit for the online selling community. So I'd like to run through those, and then if we have any questions, run through those, and then I do want to talk about your business for sellers. In the Amazon community or the online selling community, when you think of the word successful, who is the first person who comes to mind, or business or anything like that?
I guess Chris Green.
Yeah, he is. I like to call him the OG.
Yeah.
He kind of has his hand on everybody who kind of got started.
Yeah, exactly.
I think I think I read Retail Arbitrage from him before I ever got started.
Yeah, that was the most expensive book that I bought. It was like $200 book. My husband said, "Are you out of your mind?" And I never finished it. I never finished it because I started doing it, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, he's a really great guy. Have you had the chance to meet him at an event or anything yet?
I'm not sure, actually.
Okay.
I don't know. I see him on Facebook and, you know, Facebook Live all the time. I'm not even sure if I met him in person.
You'll never miss him if you do happen to go to a conference or something and he's there, because he's tall as all get out. Do you have a book, a blog post, or a piece of literature to other sellers, either before they get started or even just to learn something that maybe they don't know?
You mean regarding Amazon?
Yeah, regarding Amazon, online selling, that kind of thing.
I get most of my information from Facebook groups. So like if you're starting out, or even if you've been at it in a while, if you have a question, just don't hold it, you know, in yourself. Just put it in any group or put it in several groups, and you always will have an answer. Somebody will always help you out.
Yeah, absolutely. Here's one that people kind of are never sure what to say about, but what's something that you believe about e-commerce or selling on Amazon that others might find a little crazy?
I'm not sure that I have something like that people would think crazy. I mean, there's different crazy for everybody. Somebody would think that, you know, liquidation is crazy. Somebody would think array is crazy, and I would think, well, wholesale margins are so ridiculous or crazy. You know, everybody has their different crazy.
Absolutely. What is the most useful software or product for your business that you've purchased in the past year?
RefSeller Chrome extension.
RefSeller? Nice. Yeah, that is a great piece of software. I've just started using it like in the past 3 months.
Yeah, I love it.
Okay, Michael has a good question. Your standard operating procedures, are most of them in written format, video, or a combination?
Both. It requires video. We make a video as well. So depends on how complicated.
Awesome. I'm going to skip over Matthew's question. I'm sure that you're not selling any of your VAs. John asked, do you run any mentoring or coaching groups?
I do not have like a mentoring coaching group, but you know, if you have any questions, I have a Facebook group on OBL online buy list. You can find a link on onlinebuylist.com. link to Facebook group. So I don't know if you have any questions, you can, you know, shoot it there and I'll try to answer.
Awesome. Tell us a little bit about onlinebuyList.com, what you guys offer, and what you will do for sellers.
So we offer a variety of different services for sellers, and there are 3 different packages. And so the first package has sort of admin tasks, and that would include reimbursements, which, like I mentioned, we have 9 types of reimbursements and inventory reconciliation, sort of 9 ways to get your inventory and money back from Amazon. Then weekly account health reports and stuff like that. Then in the next plans, so for example, in the second plan, which is gold, included that stuff for admin, reimbursement, and also sourcing, which could be online arbitrage or wholesale, depends what your needs are. And also fixing suppressed inventory, all of that admin tasks. And then the third plan, which is platinum, it's basically, aside of all these tasks that I already mentioned, it's a turnkey wholesale sourcing system. So if you want to source your products wholesale, you want to acquire new accounts, everything from scratch, this is what basically this platinum plan is.
Awesome. I'm going to type the link in here so everybody can have it. Excuse me. OnlinebuyList.com. I spent a few minutes there checking it out, and the prices I thought were very, very reasonable for what you get. So I would definitely suggest that you go check it out and see what Galyna has to offer. I know we're coming up on time. We're about 45 minutes in. Any questions? Oh, I actually did have one more. The person who suggested you come on is a member of one of your masterminds. How has a mastermind played a role in your business, and how would you suggest others form their own mastermind?
Mastermind has definitely been very beneficial for my business, and I have been in several throughout the years, and that's normal. That's kind of mastermind starts, then kind of dissolves, but it's what you get out of it, well, you know, while it's active. So it kind of helps you to get a more detailed, maybe, look on your problems from people that you trust, you know, sort of your trust circle. How can you start one? I guess you need to first understand where you are with your business and, you know, where you want to be, like where do you need help, you know, with other peers, and kind of seek out individuals who are, you know, or either willing to do the same thing that you are, the same stage, or know even more than you are. So something that you would have like a common topic to talk about. So it's not completely different, but also sometimes when you have like, let's say you have a slightly different sourcing model, sometimes you can bring different things into the conversation that help, you know, each of you. So I guess it's the most important part of mastermind, of any mastermind, is the participation of each member. So if each member puts themselves out, takes their time, you know, you schedule calls, weekly calls, you know, you keep up to the schedule. If you do all that, it's gonna be beneficial.
Awesome. Yeah, I have 2 that I'm in, and if you're not in one yet, I would definitely suggest that you really think about adding that to your arsenal, because it is important to be able to bounce off ideas and things like that from people that you trust, and that will give you honest feedback, whether or not it's positive or negative. John says, is there any particular mastermind that you would suggest to join? I'm going to let you answer, and then I'll give you my suggestion as well.
Well, mastermind usually is a group of, I don't know, maybe 10 people. I mean, there is no definition kind of like that, but usually when it gets more than that, it gets pretty crowded. I do not have particular mastermind like, because usually when it's 10 people, people kind of, get together and start, working in between. Usually they don't seek, other members unless something they need, fresh blood or something is not working out or whatever. So I can't like give specific recommendations. But if you want to form a mastermind, like go on Facebook, like group that you hang out and say, hey, this is where I am with my business. I would like to form a mastermind. Who would like to be in it? I'm looking for committed people who are looking to develop their business and, for like-minded people. And there will be people who are willing to join, because there are always people who, looking to improve themselves and their businesses.
Yeah, I think you're spot on with that. It's kind of how both of mine formed. One of them was a post from someone in a Facebook group I was in, and we just happened to have some of the same philosophies on topics outside of Amazon, and it kind of formed into a mastermind where we all had something in common outside of Amazon, but we also all had the same goals. And actually, one of the really cool things about that mastermind group is I think that everyone in there is now job free. Yeah, I think I'll have to double check that, but I'm pretty sure that everyone in that mastermind came in with a job, and everyone has quit so far.
That's an awesome objective. Yeah.
Yeah. And the other one, the other one formed just by partnerships that kind of just happened naturally. So I would go out and actually find people who, are similar to you, but are also, not just going to gloss over, problems or mistakes, and are willing to give you feedback and constructive criticism because it's important. Yeah. So, and you can always feel, I run FBA today. I co-run it. Those kind of posts are awesome to put in any group. Any questions, anything that I didn't get to that you want to talk about, or that maybe I didn't ask?
Let's see. I don't know. I think we covered a lot. I don't know if you have any questions, anything specific about SOPs or VAs, I can answer on any of those.
Yeah. Guys, before we wrap up, if you do have questions, I want to give it another minute or so. I guess I do have one more question about VAs. Now, I've had a few VAs that worked out really well. And she's on now. She's got a whole agency of 5 or 6 VAs, and I'll hear someone say, "Oh, my VA's name is so and so," and I'm like, "Oh, I know her. I taught her," and so she's got a whole little crew working for her now. So having VAs not only takes the load off of us, but it also you can make an impact in someone else's life, which is kind of cool.
For sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
They really appreciate, my VAs really appreciate, the opportunity. And some of them, are moms, and, they have kind of young babies. They like to stay at home, with the babies, as opposed to taking them to daycare, and it allows them to have sort of flexibility of a schedule. And they're really appreciative of the opportunity. They really, they're really put in their best effort.
Yeah, that's awesome. So I'm going to answer Michael's question, and I know that you talked about it a little bit too. So if you want to chat it up a little bit, where do you find your VAs? I personally have found them both on Upwork, which is typically where I get my developer VAs who build my software and Chrome extensions, and then I've used onlinejobs.ph as well. So onlinejobs.ph is going to be completely focused in the Philippines. a cross section of many different countries, the U.S. to the Philippines, and all the way, in between. You'll be able to find a VA. And Galyna, I know you said word of mouth and things like that. Any other ways, or I guess how you got your first VA, things like that?
I got my first VA from word of mouth again. It's just my friend posted on Facebook that I'm looking for a VA, and that's how I found, and then one after another. I can answer the question, do I use any type of project management for the VA? We use extensively Google Sheets on Google Docs for various types of tasks. We also use NetHunt. It's a Gmail Chrome extension software. Helps managing email and your task and everything. Trello, Asana. I use Trello barely, but not with VAs. I do not use Asana. I can answer Michael's question. With your services, do we get a personal VA? How does it work? It's the VA that you get is going to be depending on the tasks that you need to accomplish. So, for example, person who's going to be taking care of reimbursements is going to be we try to put the best person on the job, because one person could be good at reimbursements, but maybe not so great on online arbitrage, and vice versa. It doesn't mean that they're not smart. That just means that, they're better with spreadsheets, analyzing data, then they're looking at product sort of thing. So basically the best person on the job is going to be doing the task that you require them to do.
Awesome. All right. Okay, we're coming up on an hour, and I really do like to be respectful of my guest time, because I know that we're all busy and we all have things to do. And Galyna, I do appreciate you coming on tonight. I do want to, absolutely. I do want to encourage anybody, if you want to check out onlinebuylist.com, I'm going to throw it in the chat one more time, and you can see what Galyna's business can do to help yours. So I'm going to call it there, guys. I appreciate everybody coming out tonight. I will have a replay up on YouTube, including all the pertinent links and everything like that. Should be by tomorrow morning after I do a little bit of editing and maybe a little bumper video. So, Galyna, thank you again. I appreciate you being here, and I appreciate everybody else. Thanks so much, guys.
Bye-bye.